Katt Williams has spent years criticizing celebrities, but some of his strongest comments were directed at Kim Kardashian. At the time, many people dismissed the remarks as another celebrity controversy. 2 years later, those same clips are circulating again as lawsuits, settlements, public accusations, and other headlines involving Kardashian and her businesses continue to attract attention. The discussion goes back to January 2024, when Williams appeared on Shannon Sharpe's Club Shady podcast. The interview quickly became one of the most talked about celebrity interviews on the internet. During the nearly 3-hour conversation, Williams spoke about Hollywood, fame, business, and what he believes are problems within the entertainment industry. He criticized several well-known public figures, but his comments about Kim Kardashian generated some of the strongest reactions. Williams argued that modern celebrity culture often rewards image more than honesty. He questioned the influence of certain celebrity families and suggested that fame and public relations can sometimes shape how people view controversy. His remarks were blunt, controversial, and widely shared across social media. Some viewers agreed with his criticism, while others felt he was simply creating headlines. At the time, Kardashian did not publicly respond. Like many controversies involving her name, the story appeared to move on after a few news cycles. But over the following months, several unrelated events brought renewed attention to Williams's comments. One of those events involved a settlement with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. Regulators said Kardashian promoted the cryptocurrency Ethereum Max on Instagram without properly disclosing that she had been paid for the advertisement. She later agreed to pay $1.26 million in penalties and accepted restrictions on promoting certain crypto assets. The settlement received widespread media coverage because it involved one of the world's most recognizable celebrities. Another issue emerged around Skims, the shapewear company Kardashian helped build into a global brand. In January 2026, the company agreed to settle claims from New Jersey authorities involving sales tax charges on certain clothing items. According to the state, some customers had been charged tax on products that qualified for exemptions. Skims stated that the issue resulted from a technical error and agreed to corrective measures as part of the settlement. Around the same period, a legal dispute involving Ray J brought old controversies back into public discussion. Ray J filed legal claims accusing Kardashian and Kris Jenner of misconduct involving financial matters and the release of the 2007 tape that helped launch Kardashian's rise to fame. Kardashian denied the allegations and stated in court filings that the claims were false. Ray J's legal team disputed those denials, keeping the dispute active in public conversation. None of these events were directly connected. They involved different allegations, different legal questions, and different timelines. Yet online commentators increasingly grouped them together. As each new headline appeared, clips from Katt Williams's interview resurfaced again. Supporters argued that the controversies reflected the concerns he raised about celebrity influence and public image. Critics argued that lawsuits and accusations should not be confused with proven facts. The conversation grew even larger in May 2026, when a criminal case in the United Kingdom unexpectedly placed the Skims name into international headlines. Border officers discovered approximately £7.2 million worth of cocaine hidden inside a truck carrying legitimate Skims products. Authorities later confirmed that the clothing shipment itself was legitimate and that neither the exporter nor the importer was accused of any wrongdoing. The driver admitted his role in the smuggling operation and received a prison sentence. Even with those official findings, the story spread rapidly online. Social media users connected the drug seizure to earlier controversies involving Kardashian, while content creators revisited old interviews, legal disputes, and internet rumors. Once again, Katt Williams's comments returned to the center of the discussion. By this point, the debate had become much bigger than any single lawsuit or investigation. For some people, the growing list of controversies raised questions about celebrity influence and accountability. For others, it showed how quickly unrelated events can be connected online, even when investigators find no evidence linking them together. What began as a podcast interview in 2024 had evolved into a much broader conversation about fame, business, public trust, and the power of reputation in the age of social media. As more headlines appeared, the conversation around Kim Kardashian began to shift. The debate was no longer focused only on what Katt Williams said during his podcast interview. Instead, people started asking whether the growing number of controversies surrounding Kardashian and her businesses were simply bad luck or part of a larger pattern. One reason the discussion gained momentum is because many of the stories involved money, business practices, or public trust. On their own, each issue was different. Together, however, they created a narrative that many critics found difficult to ignore. The first major example was the Ethereum Max settlement, when the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission announced that Kardashian had agreed to pay $1.26 million over her promotion of the cryptocurrency. The case received international attention. The issue was not that she promoted a product. Celebrities do that all the time. The problem, according to regulators, was that she failed to properly disclose that she had been paid for the promotion. For critics, the case raised a simple question. If someone with hundreds of millions of followers recommends an investment product, how much responsibility should they carry for the people who trust their endorsement? While Kardashian settled the case without admitting wrongdoing, the incident became one of the first major business controversies attached to her name. Then came the settlement involving Skims. In January 2026, New Jersey authorities announced that the company had agreed to resolve claims involving sales tax charges on certain clothing items. Skims said the issue resulted from a technical error. Critics, however, argued that customers had been affected for years before the problem was corrected. While the settlement amount was relatively small for a company of Skims' size, the story added another negative headline to a growing list. At the same time, Ray J's legal battle with Kardashian and Kris Jenner continued attracting attention online. His allegations were strongly denied by Kardashian, and the claims remained disputed. However, the lawsuit brought old controversies back into public discussion, particularly questions surrounding the origins of Kardashian's rise to fame and whether the public had ever been told the complete story. This is where supporters of Katt Williams believe his criticism became more relevant. They argue that his comments were never about predicting specific lawsuits or investigations. Instead, they believe he was criticizing a celebrity culture built on image management, where branding often becomes more important than transparency. From that perspective, every new controversy appeared to support his broader argument that public perception and reality are not always the same thing. Others completely reject that interpretation. They point out that settlements are not criminal convictions, allegations are not evidence, and criticism should not be confused with facts. They argue that Kardashian's businesses operate on a massive global scale, and that large companies frequently face lawsuits, regulatory disputes, and customer complaints without those issues proving deliberate wrongdoing. That disagreement became even more visible after the Skims cocaine case made international headlines. Although investigators clearly stated that neither Skims nor Kardashian had any connection to the drugs, the story spread across social media at incredible speed. Many people paid little attention to the official findings. Instead, they focused on the headline itself: cocaine hidden in a shipment carrying Skims products. For critics of Kardashian, the story felt symbolic. It became another example of controversy appearing around her brand, even when investigators found no wrongdoing. For supporters, it showed how quickly misinformation can spread once a famous name becomes attached to a sensational story. The reaction highlighted a larger problem in modern media. Facts often move more slowly than speculation. By the time official statements are released, millions of people may have already formed opinions based on headlines, clips, or social media posts. That reality helped bring Katt Williams back into the conversation once again. Old clips from the Club Shay interview began circulating across YouTube, TikTok, X, and Instagram. Content creators connected his comments to lawsuits, settlements, and investigations, presenting them as evidence that his warnings about celebrity culture had been accurate. Whether those connections were fair or not became a matter of opinion, but the renewed interest was impossible to ignore. By the middle of 2026, the story was no longer just about Kim Kardashian, Katt Williams, or even Skims. It had become part of a larger discussion about celebrity influence, public trust, and the growing gap between official facts and online narratives. For some people, the controversies showed why powerful public figures deserve greater scrutiny. For others, they showed how easily unrelated events can be combined into a single storyline, even when the evidence does not support that conclusion. Either way, the debate was growing larger, and neither side appeared willing to back down. In the end, the story surrounding Kim Kardashian and Katt Williams says as much about the internet as it does about either person involved. The facts are relatively straightforward. Kim Kardashian settled the Ethereum Max case with the SEC. Skims resolved the sales tax dispute with New Jersey authorities. Ray J's legal claims remain disputed and have been strongly denied by Kardashian and her family. The cocaine found in the truck carrying Skims products led to a criminal conviction, but investigators stated that neither Skims nor Kim Kardashian was connected to the smuggling operation. Those facts have not changed. What changed was how people interpreted them. For supporters of Kardashian, the situation is simple. They see a global celebrity and businesswoman whose success naturally attracts lawsuits, criticism, rumors, and constant public scrutiny. From their perspective, none of the controversies prove the existence of a larger scheme. They argue that investigations reached their conclusions, settlements were reached where necessary, and allegations remain allegations until proven in court. Critics see the situation differently. They argue that even when the individual stories are unrelated, the growing number of disputes surrounding Kardashian and her businesses creates questions that deserve attention. They point to regulatory settlements, consumer complaints, legal battles, and years of public controversy as reasons why many people remain skeptical. In their view, the issue is not one specific scandal, but the pattern created when multiple controversies appear over time. That difference in perspective explains why Katt Williams continues to be part of the conversation. His supporters often point out that he never claimed to have inside information about future investigations or criminal activity. Instead, they believe his criticism focused on celebrity culture itself. They argue that his comments resonated because many people already felt that powerful celebrities receive more protection, more benefit of the doubt, and more control over public narratives than ordinary people. Whether that argument is fair remains open to debate. What is clear is that Williams's reputation changed after the Club Shay interview. Before the interview, many people viewed him primarily as a comedian known for controversy and outspoken opinions. Afterward, a growing number of supporters began describing him as someone willing to challenge powerful figures when others would not. Every new headline involving celebrities he criticized only strengthened that perception among his audience. For Kardashian, the challenge has been different. For nearly 2 decades, she has built one of the most successful personal brands in modern entertainment. Her ability to turn attention into business success is almost unmatched. Yet the same visibility that helped build her empire also means every controversy, lawsuit, settlement, or accusation receives enormous attention. In today's social media environment, negative headlines can travel around the world before official responses even have a chance to catch up. That may be the biggest lesson from this entire story. The internet rarely separates facts, opinions, rumors, and speculation into neat categories. Instead, people often combine different events into one larger narrative. A regulatory settlement, a business dispute, a lawsuit, and a criminal case involving unrelated individuals can quickly become part of the same conversation, especially when a famous name is attached to each headline. That does not mean every theory is true. It also does not mean every concern should be ignored. The challenge is knowing where evidence ends and assumption begins. As of now, no investigation has linked Kim Kardashian or Skims to the cocaine smuggling operation. The legal disputes involving Ray J remain unresolved. The SEC matter was settled years ago, and the sales tax issue involving Skims was resolved through an agreement with state authorities. Yet, despite those facts, the public debate continues. For some people, the story confirms long-held doubts about celebrity influence and accountability. For others, it demonstrates how quickly online speculation can transform unrelated events into a single conspiracy. Either way, Katt Williams's comments remain part of the discussion because they touched on something larger than Kim Kardashian herself. They tapped into a growing public distrust of celebrity culture, powerful brands, and carefully managed public images. Whether people agree with him or not, that conversation shows no sign of disappearing anytime soon. The lawsuits may end, the investigations may close, and the headlines may eventually fade. But the larger questions about fame, influence, and public trust will likely remain long after this controversy has passed.